Hi everyone, my name is King Ivy, and this is an audit analytics workshop covering fixed assets using the IDEA software. Couple case facts. The beginning balance on the fixed asset subledger is as of December 31st, 2012. 3 depreciation methods: straight line, double declining units of production. Invoice date of invoice worksheet is also the in-service date. 2013, the Waterloo Autos informed that their machinery assets are now have an economic life of 60 months as opposed to 240. They decided to amortize based off of straight line instead of double declining. And asset 1002 no longer has salvage value and at the end of its life, and then asset 1017 was informed that it would have half its salvage value. So a couple of these things that we need to perform is tying the fixed asset subledger to the trial balance, recalculating the depreciation, what are the impacts on the case facts, and then determine the financial statement adjustments. So let's get started. So I've already imported the data. I've already run field statistics, but let's take a look here. So we need to tie these three numbers to the trial balance. So if we look here, the ending balance is 36 million, which is good. The depreciation here is 3.35 million. That's good. And then the fixed assets at the beginning of the year is 33.8. So it looks good. Ties to the trial balance. And what we need to do next is recalculate the trial balance, the depreciation. So a couple things we need to do here. I'm going to call this age. And basically what I want to know is how many months since the actual purchase of the vehicle to December 31st, 2012. So we're going to take the year. We're going to take 2013 minus the year, multiply that difference by 12, plus 12 minus the month of the purchase. And then this is where it gets a little bit tricky. If the day of the purchase is at the beginning of the month, right, then I'm going to add one more month, otherwise make it 0. So the example here would be June 2012. This would be 2013 minus 2012 times 12, which is 1. 12 minus 6, since June's the 6th month, that would be 6, so that would give us 12 plus 6, which is 18, plus if it's June 1st, then it's going to give us another 1, so that'll give us 19 months, which is how many months between June 1st, 2012 and December 31st, 2013. Nope, forgot a bracket. And then what you'll notice here is that we have a beginning balance, but for assets purchased in 2012, this is not going to work. So then what we actually have to do is create a new beginning balance, and that's based off the historical cost in the beginning balance there. So we'll call this beginning. And basically what we're going to say here is that if the year of the purchase is 2013, let's do an if here, then we're going to make it historical cost, otherwise make it beginning balance. Perfect. Now we're going to calculate here. We're going to go SL, straight line depreciation, and we're going to do we're going to do if statement, and we're going to go if the age is greater than or equal to 12, then what we need to do is have do 12 divided by the economic life in months, because if it's purchased more than a year ago, we're going to take full depreciation. Otherwise, we're going to do age divided by economic life in months times, oh, I forgot to include historical cost less salvage value right? And then we're going to do one more big if statement here because we can't have more depreciation than, or actually we're going to do one more min function here. We can't have more depreciation than the actual beginning value, right? So you can't depreciate an asset more than the remaining value. So there. So we're basically saying like, give me the lower of the depreciation and the beginning value. So if the depreciation is higher, give me the beginning value. If the other values, if the depreciation is lower than the beginning value, give me the beginning. Give me the depreciation. Now what we need to do for double declining is we're going to go double declining depreciation. And we are basically going to go, again, same thing. We're going to go 24 because it's 24 months, which is the same thing as 2 years, times the beginning value. But this is where it gets tricky. Okay. We're going to go 24 this. Give me the lower of this and this minus salvage. Actually, we need to do that in the other one as well. So, because you can't have depreciation, more depreciation than past the salvage value. So if the say the beginning balance is 110,000 and salvage value is 100,000, the maximum depreciation you take is 10,000. So if this was, for example, 15,000, then this would be automatically 10,000. So we take 10,000. If this was 5,000, we take 5,000 instead of that one. So actually, I think I need to make that adjustment here as well. Yeah, give me the lower of the beginning minus salvage or the depreciation. Can't depreciate past salvage. And then you see that we also have errors here. And that's because the economic life is 0 here. So we'll have to make a few more adjustments here. What we're going to say here is if the economic life in months is greater than 0, then give me that. Otherwise, give me 0 for the depreciation. And then you'll see that'll get fixed, and then we'll do the same thing here. We'll say if economic life in months is greater than 0, give me that. Otherwise, give me 0 for the depreciation. It's very important to fix these errors because they actually make it very difficult to use these fields later, even if the particular row is correct. And then we're going to go UP depreciation, and we're going to go, it's going to be very straightforward. We're going to go, essentially the way it works is it's going to be, where is it? This divided by this times historical costs minus salvage. What we know is that we can't depreciate more than the remaining value, so we actually have to go beginning minus salvage. And as well, since we know that, actually I'll show you, there's going to be a whole bunch of errors up here. That's because the units of production is 0 because it's not measured in that manner. So what we'll do here is that if is 0, so the total estimate is greater than 0, then do this, otherwise make it 0. And now what we have to do here is depreciation recalculated. We'll do if depreciation type equals straight line. And then make it straight line depreciation. If it is depreciation type is double declining, make it this. Otherwise, make it the last one. So basically, if it has this word, otherwise the only other option is units of production or units of production. So we'll see here, and then we'll apply one more field. This is depreciation variance, which is basically going to be the depreciation that was recorded less the depreciation of the recalculation. And we'll see here. There are these variances. So our recalculation would say that in this case, 1,000,000, but what is actually recorded was 200,000. Cool. So that's good to know. The next thing we need to do is do what are the impacts of the financial statements based on the case facts. So this first one that we're going to deal with is the invoice date is also the same as the in-service date. So let's see if any of the dates are different. So what we're going to do here is do join. We're going to join with the only other table in the vendor inventory, and we only want the purchase date. And we're going to match it based off of asset number, and we're just going to match it only. So we'll do FA schedule vendor. And then what we're going to do here is I'm going to modify, let's call it vendor. And then I'm going to create a new field and say purchase date different. And I'm going to make it character. I'm going to make it 3. I'm going to be like, if purchase date does not equal vendor date, then make it yes. Otherwise, make it no. Here you go. And then what we could do is we could do our recalculation based off this new vendor date. But you'll see that it only really matters for these straight line ones. So, and their final depreciation was 0 because they said that it was December 31st, but it's actually June 30th. So let's calculate the depreciation using this date instead. So what we're going to do here is we know that's purchased in 2013, so we can just do depreciation vendor, and we are going to go, the way we're going to do it here is we're going to do 12, there's a couple ways we can do it. We do 12 minus the month of the vendor purchase date, which will give us 6, and then technically we should be considering the whether that is 1 to 30, but we already know that's already going to be there, but we can do it anyway. So we can go plus if day purchase is equal to 1, which is not, give it 1, otherwise get 0. Not a big deal. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to do this divided by the economic life in months times historical cost minus salvage value. to fix a few of these because it doesn't like to really work if there's an error. So we're going to go if economic life is greater than 0, do this, otherwise make it 0. So we'll see here, and now we'll directly extract this. We will do this, and we'll call it invoice purchase date variances, and we'll go is greater than 0. So we'll see there that the adjustment should be for 185,000. So that's good. Good to know. We've pretty much covered this one. Then what we need to know is like they changed it from straight line to double declining to straight line. So let's see what would happen. Let's go here. Let's go 2013. Let's go assets, machinery, 2013. And essentially what's going to be here is that year purchase date is going to be 2013, and the type is going to be machinery. So the advantage of actually calculating both the straight line and the double declining is now we can do a direct comparison between the two. So now we can go straight line versus double declining variance, and we can go and we'll see that the variances are pretty large. And actually, let's flip this. And then what we'll see here is that this is the additional depreciation that would have been recorded if it was recorded under double declining versus straight line. So something to follow up on, especially since it was submitted by an anonymous source. And then what we need to do is now let's extract asset 1002 and 1017. So we'll go salvage change, and we'll go $1,017 and $1,002. Oh, yeah, no, these are actually numbers, not characters. So it looks like it didn't like that extraction. And the reason why is because I did an and instead of an or. So let's do that again. Let's take this here. Let's do that again. We'll do asset number equals 1002, I believe, or asset number equals 1017, because it can't be two asset numbers at the same time. And we'll go, let's call this salvage adjustment. And then we'll just delete this one once I close it. Now what we'll see here is what would be the impact if the salvage value were to change. So what we can do here is we'll create a new field. We'll call it, this first one is straight line, and the other one's double declining. So double declining will actually have no impact. So all we have to do is actually calculate the straight line. So we'll call it straight line, depreciation, salvage, new. And essentially what we'll do here is we'll do the same thing, except for now we just have to consideration that the salvage value is actually 0. So what we'll do here is we'll go if the age, similar to what we were doing before, if the age is greater than or equal to 12, then do 12 divided by the economic life in months times historical cost less 0 instead of the salvage. I could create a new field called salvage and make it 0, but not that big a deal. Here, and then otherwise make it age divided by economic life in months times historical costs. And then what do I know here is that I know that this cannot be greater than the beginning balance minus salvage value, which is now 0. And as well, just for technically it could change because the salvage value may impact the maximum depreciation that we can take. So here, let's actually go about doing it. So we're going to do the min of 24 divided by the economic life times beginning, or beginning minus 0. And then what we're going to do here is we're going to create depreciation final cell new, and basically go if depreciation type equals straight line, and then make it this one. Otherwise, make it the double declining one. And then we'll go we'll go variance, salvage, new, and basically just go sort this by this way. Recalc minus our recalculation here. So $100,000 difference. So that covers this case fact. And then that covers this. And I'll let you go determine the financial statement impacts, but that's essentially the calculation. So we covered when the salvage value changes, when there's a change in depreciation methodology and the potential impact and the potential underlying motivations, and as well a recalculation and process integrity over the fixed asset subledger. So I know it's a little bit of a longer video, but hopefully you learned a bit and learned how to do adjustments and do that calculations and how you can apply cats to the fixed asset subledger. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. But until next time, thank you and have a good day.